All for One smiled as he looked up at the TV, with both Redestro and Karai both on call. Well, the Foot Clan, what a surprise. You knew of their existence? Redestro asked, not liking how he was the only one that had been in the dark. All for One scoffed. One does not live as a criminal mastermind for several hundred years, and not know of the Foot Clan. Good, then we can get to the point, Karai said. We are planning to attack the UA Stadium on the day of the sports festival, and we'd like to ask for your cooperation. Oh? All for One smirked. Seemed like things were going to be more amusing than he thought. That's a rather daring move. Let me guess, it's about the Midoriya Foundation? You would be correct, Karai confirmed. The Midoriya Foundation currently has something that belongs to the Foot Clan. And you already know what issue the MLA has with them. Yes, I'm well aware. All for One said. But what would motivate me to join your attack? I would appreciate it if you did not waste time playing coy. Karai scolded. We all know that you would love to get your hands on the Midoriya family's quirks. Heh, yes, I suppose that was obvious. All for One chuckled. But still, that is a rather risky operation. The sports festival is going to be attended by hundreds of heroes, including All Might and Endeavor. Not to mention all the heroes that are going to be watching it from elsewhere. It won't be a stretch to say that reinforcements will come pretty much instantly, and in numbers, we could not hope to fight off. And it would almost guarantee that all three of us would be exposed to the world afterward. True, but when one is focused so thoroughly on one thing, they tend to be rather ignorant to everything else, Karai explained. With most of the heroes focused on the sports festival, it will be easier for criminals to get away with unsavory acts. Something we've already pointed out to the many gangs and wannabe criminals itching for a chance to prove themselves a threat. Interesting, but do you really think an army of low-rank villains will attract attention away from the sports festival? All for One asked. Even the lower-rank heroes dispatch of them in droves. It will cause chaos, but nearly enough. Indeed, but the villains are there to keep the heroes' attention, not attract it, Karai said. That's what the bombs are for. Regardless of their power and skill, rescue and damage control takes time. Add all those lowly villains to mix, and the heroes will have their hands quite full. Even more so if you would be so kind as to lend some of your Noma to the mix. We'll see, so what's your plan for the attack on the actual festival? All for One asked. After many of the heroes are distracted, we will activate the EDM.P.S around the city, meaning no one will be able to tell what's happening, and people won't know the arena is being attacked, Karai explained. Then, that's when we infiltrate the arena, and quickly go after our targets, overwhelming them with numbers, completing our missions, and getting out before they can counterattack. All for One thought about it for a moment. Alright, I'm in. I think I can offer some very useful tools to your operation, like Kurogiri, and something we've been preparing for a while. I can't think of a better time to use Starro. Izuku walked into the lab with a stern look on his face. He walked through the halls of the laboratory, moving past several staff bots. The staff bots were made by Dr. Hikari to do all the menial tasks that scientists couldn't be bothered to do, and that they didn't want to hire people to do. They had the upper half of a robotic human, while their wide lower halves moved with two wheels. Izuku moved towards Mai's office before letting himself in. Jiken, is it ready yet? Just about. Me and Dr. Hikari worked around the clock on it. Mai explained as she pulled up a large briefcase, around half the size of her body. Oh, it's a bit heavy though. Well, that's to be expected considering what I asked for, Izuku said, and he took the briefcase. It was a bit heavy, thankfully he worked out so he could carry it with little difficulty. About that, sir, are you sure this is okay? Mai asked with an extremely uneasy expression. This weapon is kinda cruel. It could ruin a person's life in more ways than one. I'm aware. Izuku sighed, looking down at the case with a heavy expression. I really don't want to use this. But if I have to, that means my children are in danger. And if that's the case, I can't afford to hold back. They will regret trying to darken my children's futures. I mean, if you're using it on child-killing scum, I guess I can't feel too bad for them, Mai said, although her uneasy expression contradicted her words. It's fine to feel bad for them, just not to the point where we let them get their way, Izuku told her with a sigh. But, anyway, the other briefcase? Right. Sir. Mai went under her desk and grabbed the other briefcase. This one was smaller, but still pretty big. Sir, are you sure about this? If this briefcase falls into the wrong hands, the results could be catastrophic. I know, but I have to take every precaution I can, Izuka said as he took the other briefcase. Sir, I hate to sound like I'm going against you after everything you've done for me, but you're just going to the sports festival. Mai pointed out with an apologetic tone. Isn't it already safe enough? Izuka sighed and put down the briefcases before looking Mai straight in the eye. I was on my front lawn, miles away from the city, surrounded by grim-infested forest. All Might and Eraserhead were literally right in front of me, along with my two extremely powerful bodyguards, and the entirety of Class 1A. And yet despite all that, the villain managed to break into my house, fight All Might, Eraserhead, my bodyguards, and the army of Grimm to a standstill, get the advantage over Class 1A, and if it weren't for my children stepping in, we could have lost that whole battle. My son had his hand burned off. Nara had a hole put in her chest, Ken was put into critical condition, and Kiba almost murdered several people, including her own friends. Do you understand my position a little better now? Mai cringed and looked away in shame. Sorry, sir. No need to apologize, I understand I'm being paranoid to an extent, Izuku admitted. But if that paranoia keeps my children safe, then I'll do what I must. I understand, sir. I trust you know what you're doing, Mai said as she bowed to her boss. I told you it's fine. It's actually a good thing that you're questioning me. It lets me know you have integrity. Izuka smiled. I'm glad I put you in charge of this division. Mai smiled back. Thank you, sir.